The area where this rapidly growing population lives and works is limited to the narrow strips of fertile land along the banks of the Nile. The famous wheat distillery is now too small. The construction of the high dam has to meet the needs of the whole of the United Arab Republic. A large lake extends deep into the Sudan, making it possible to irrigate vast areas and to increase cultivation, while the electric energy produced allows new industries to emerge. But the construction of the dam has many drawbacks. Hundreds of thousands of people have to be moved, and many unique Nubian monuments would have disappeared if no action had been taken in time. The whole world is moved by the dangers that threaten the Nubian monuments. The United Arab Republic appeals to UNESCO, which launches an international campaign to save Egypt's heritage. More than 50 countries agree to participate in financing the project. And then starts the race against time and the rising of the water level. Several plans are proposed, and finally the following one is adopted. A barrier of wooden planks will be erected to protect the temples during the work operations. A thick layer of sand will cover the statues of Ramses. A system of girders will be constructed to support the inside of the temples. Finally, all the rocks surrounding the temples will be cleared away, leaving a protective armor of 80 centimeters. Temples themselves will be cut into blocks of 20 to 30 tons and stored safely away. Then the temples will be reassembled on a new site 60 meters higher and their natural surroundings recreated. In November 1963, the consortium of Abu Simbel, grouping the enterprises of 5 countries, receives a contract for the work to begin. It is a delicate operation, made even more difficult by the climate and the isolation of the sites. The nearest town, Aswan, is 300 kilometers to the north on the Nile. There are no routes to transport the equipment, machines, workers or food. Any equipment coming from Europe takes 5 months to arrive to its destination. And yet, there is no time to lose. Even before building lodgings for the workers, the work of the supportive barrier must start. Its height must reach 28 meters above the water level. Early November 1964, the race against time reaches a critical stage. After the heavy rains in Ethiopia, the level of the Nile rises to only 2 meters below the barrier. Everywhere, everybody works ceaselessly. All the work on the blocks can start, or the facade has to be covered with a thick layer of sand to protect it from the falling stones. In the most sensitive places, the sand is applied by hand. Trained excavators level the plateau of the temple. Protective shelf is erected to prevent the huge blocks from collapsing on the sand and the facade. The broken rocks are used in the construction of the barrier. The end of February 1965, the barrier is finally completed. The facade is completely buried under the sand, just like before its discovery. To reach the interior of the temple, the only way is through a narrow corridor made of steel. Inside the temple, 240 tons of steel beams provide support. These are covered with plastic material or foam so as not to damage the mural paintings or the ceilings. Each segment is numbered for the future reassembling of the monuments. The real difficulties start when they turn their attention to the rock dominating the temples. The rapid movement of the metal wires separate the enormous blocks. Then the electric saws take over. But this is still only a general rehearsal. It isn't necessary to be precise here. Large incisions are acceptable.